In this case study, I'm going to share exactly how we helped Tiffany, a former tech exec, buy a $2.25 million fencing business in 7 months. And she's already under LOI for another, just 5 months later. And we're going to tackle a few big questions throughout the case study, like why would Tiffany leave behind 12 plus years at top tech firms like Dropbox and Canva to buy a fencing company? How did she handle taking over a business where the seller and his family were very involved? In fancy M&A terms, a company with a lot of key man risk. How did she survive a 50% tariff spike 2 months into owning the business? And how did she turn what she thought would be a 10-year vision into reality in just 5 months with a second acquisition in the works? So let's start with where Tiffany was before she decided to buy a business. Tiffany is what most people would call a corporate high achiever. She spent over a decade in tech startups and finance, starting her career in investment banking, then holding senior roles at top tech companies like Dropbox and becoming a VC along the way. By all accounts, a successful career that a lot of people would want. So, why would she make the leap to buying SMBs? What led her to make the jump? Well, she didn't love coming into work every day and wasn't all that excited about what she was working on. What she wanted was ownership, independence, control. The AI wave everyone was chasing was not her future. She wanted something that was actively not going to get disrupted by it. So she focused on buying a small business that had consistent profit, was recession resistant, and that she could grow and scale. And what did she end up buying? A $2.25 million fence company in the Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina area. It's one of the fastest growing metro areas in the country, meaning more houses and more fences. And the deal was financed with 18% seller financing. She put 12% down, and the rest of it, 70%, was financed with an SBA loan. The revenue mix was 90% residential and 10% small commercial, and it only took her 7 months from joining the program to closing. But the road wasn't straight. Tiffany faced some real setbacks. The first challenge was seller and contractor dependence, something a lot of people are really afraid of when they review small service businesses. This business was run by 3 generations of one family. The grandfather handled customer relations, the son managed operations, and the granddaughter oversaw scheduling. All of those roles need to be replaced by somebody, and usually it's a new owner. On top of that, almost all the installation work was carried out by a single contractor, creating a dangerous single point of failure. If any of these people left, it would have been very bad for the business. So how do we help Tiffany deal with it? Well, like I said before, this would have been a deal breaker for a lot of people searching for a business, but there is a right way to deal with it. First, we had Tiffany tackle it front and center, talk to the seller, bring up the dependency, and talk about how they would transition off of his family. A lot of people are afraid of starting that conversation, but the seller usually also knows when they have serious dependency risk. As long as you come in with the right tone, they're often open to having that conversation. Second, we helped Tiffany create a plan for which roles needed to be replaced from day one of the transition. And third, we made sure the seller agreed to train replacements and even help recruit them. But promises are easy. How do you back them up? Which brings us to number 4. She did the most important thing, which was build an actual relationship with the seller. She went to church, dinners, and general community events with them. She made it so the seller wanted to make sure she succeeded, regardless of the financial incentive. But on top of that, we made sure it was all backed up by having 18% of the purchase price in a seller note that was deferred for 2 years. That means the owner had financial skin in the game. Now let's talk about challenge number 2, which hit during due diligence. When Tiffany's quality of earnings report noted that the seller had been double counting some of the revenue due to the way they had done their books. Our QV partners rebuilt all the P&Ls from the bank statements, and we decided the deal needed to be restructured to remove some of the risks they noted. But the way we helped Tiffany do this was clever. Often, people try to bring the price down immediately and get into a combative situation with the seller. Our tactic was understanding that sellers get very hung up on their agreed upon price when you go under LOI, so we kept the purchase the same at $2.25 million. But moved more of the financing from SBA to seller financing and delayed the seller financing for 2 years, and then decided to do 4 annual payments with no interest. This is how creative you can get with financing. The sellers get paid what they want, and you get to keep more cash flow in the business. How was that helpful? We were able to help Tiffany lower her debt payments for the first 2 years after taking over the business. We were able to help her build more skin in the game for the sellers, and we were able to help her avoid paying interest on the debt, which she would have otherwise done with SBA. But then the deal had a third challenge. Just 2 months after closing, tariffs on aluminum fencing jumped by 50% overnight. This hit Tiffany right where it hurt. The fencing company was 90% residential and heavily dependent on aluminum fencing sales. Margins could have been wiped out. That's something so many new business buyers would find to be a nightmare scenario. But Tiffany had a team behind her and a seller who she built a relationship with. So instead of panicking, she negotiated directly with suppliers to secure better terms on margins and payment. A lot of new business buyers don't realize how much money you can free up by extending payment terms, discussing volume discounts, and doing a lot of the supply chain improvements that a less vigilant owner just doesn't want to put in the work to do. And it's hard to even know which levers to pull unless you can talk to people who've been there, done that, which Tiffany had. She also adjusted her inventory purchasing strategy to make sure they were only holding as much as needed at any time. Also meaning she needed to keep less cash on hand to keep the business running. By doing this quickly, she avoided passing drastic price hikes out to customers while also still maintaining healthy margins. Now, let's put this all together. How did Tiffany go from knowing nothing about business acquisitions to an $800K a year business in under a year? She used our 6-part business buying framework. Step 1 was locking in deal flow. Tiffany had done very little searching until she joined our program, so we wanted to get her moving immediately. So we sourced over 80 off-market leads for her, curated completely to her buy box, and over 300 on-market leads before she found the business she was going to buy. Number 2 was the one-on-one M&A advisory. That advisory was helping her review deals, it was helping her structure deals, negotiate them, and it was helping her figure out where the red flags were on the deals she wanted to pursue through both a dedicated Slack channel and one-on-one Zoom calls. For Tiffany, it was having someone constantly helping to keep her deal moving when she hit obstacles on seller dependence, repricing the deal, and transitioning. And helping her answer questions like, the broker and seller are pressuring me to decrease my exclusivity window. Is that normal? We found some issues in the quality of earnings. How should we reprice the deal, or should we? The bankers are telling me they won't be able to close the deal on time. I need help back-channeling and getting this through the finish line. And here are real screenshots from our one-on-one Slack channel. This one was when we had told her to take an aggressive 45-day exclusivity window, but rolling in the right to extend it if or when they needed a bit more time. Getting her in the door with the LOI, but also leaving her room to do more diligence if needed. Then we helped Tiffany find lenders that we had already pre-vetted as high quality. Partners we knew were willing to give competitive offers, close quickly, and with confidence, not leaving our members at the altar right before close like some lenders do. And recently, we've secured a special arrangement with select SBA lenders in our network. They've been so impressed with the success of our program and members that they're now counting the cost of our program, QAB, and legal fees toward the SBA down payment. That means our program is effectively free when you close a deal. So, after Tiffany had her lender process moving, we gave her a pre-vetted deal team that would handle her financial and legal diligence at half the usual price with hundreds of similar deals under their belt. That way, Tiffany could focus on understanding the business, negotiating and building a relationship with sellers, and getting ready to take over the business, not getting bogged down in line item reviews of the contracts and balance sheets. And throughout that whole process, she had a community of people who were buying businesses, asking questions about business buying that Tiffany didn't even know to ask, and closing on their own deals every single week. People just like her. And on top of that, through her community, she was able to tap into subject matter experts who had owned businesses before who were very happy to give advice. And last but not least, we provided Tiffany with plug-and-play resources. Resources that she had at the stage of, what should I send a broker? Having email scripts for that. How should I do diligence? Having checklists for that. How should I set an LOI? Having a template for that with real-life examples. How should I calculate my returns? Having a model for that. How should I present my business plan to a lender? Having a template for that. Having just pre-battle tested templates and plug-and-play resources that she could use at every step of the process. And what's Tiffany doing now? Well, she found out that there was another fencing business on the opposite side of town that was 2/3 commercial and 1/3 residential who was looking to sell. How'd she find this out? Through her aluminum supplier. The second fencing business only wanted to sell to someone in the industry, and now Tiffany was exactly that, and she's already under LOI with them. Tiffany said that rolling up and beginning to scale to the level she's getting to was a part of her 10-year plan. She had no idea she'd be making it a reality 5 months after her first acquisition. And if you want to hear all of this in Tiffany's own words, she did a full 35-minute alumni interview with us. It's on our pro page, along with loads of other stories from pro alums who've closed million-dollar businesses in the last 6 to 12 months. And she's not alone. There's countless examples here of students we've helped do the same. In fact, we've helped close over $100 million in transactions in the past year alone. Let me be clear though, this isn't for most of you. You need to have at least $50,000 in liquid capital to invest in a down payment. You need to want to actually start your business buying journey in the next 30 days, and you need to want to buy a business in the next 6 to 12 months. That's why we require you to put through an application to see if you're a fit, because we don't want you to waste your time and we don't want to waste ours. And then to talk to one of our enrollment advisors so they can walk you through what size deals you can afford, what are the costs in buying a business, and how you can mitigate them, and how do you find investors to back your deal. On top of that, I want to give you feedback on your investment thesis, that business deal size, location, and types of business you're looking at, and share what kind of returns you can expect from buying one. And if that sounds like you, just please schedule a call below and we'll see if you're a fit.